Good morning, my dear students. Welcome back to our social class. Previous class we saw about the political and permanent executives. How are they functioning? And we also saw the difference between the political and the permanent executives. We saw that political executive, the power is for their tenure until they are being the rulers, but the permanent executives are permanently having their power, even though they are less powerful than comparing to the political executives, but they are the regular and permanent executives who will have a long term of tenure until their retirement age. Okay, my dear students, so today we are going to see about the prime minister and the cabinet ministry. So if you see, the prime minister is the supreme person in our nation. So he is being considered as the person of chair cabinet ministry, or he is being the chairperson for the meeting which is being held during the parliament in the cabinet. Okay, and if you see, the prime minister takes up the responsibility of coordinating different departments. So he has to coordinate the different department by taking all of them together and having a discussion and deciding. So this is what is his duty. Then if you see, when it comes to the a problem of disagreement in the parliament, final decision when it is taken in the parliament and it has been disagreed by the maximum of people, there his decision, his means the prime minister, so prime minister decision is being considered as the major important decision. So prime minister is the person who's been appointed by the president. You know how he will be appointed? He'll be appointed in such a way that if majority party, now if you see, BJP is the majority party in the central level. So when from them they will select one person. Okay, so the ruling party will be representing a person and that person will be appointed by the president, but the president doesn't have any right to appoint any of the other ministers. Okay, even in prime minister, if you see, prime minister has the right to distribute and redistribute the ministries for the people, like to the ministers who are all being elected. Okay, so that is the another important thing. And if you see, next thing is that the prime minister suggests ministers for different ministries. Okay, and those ministers will be appointed, oath taking ceremony will be held under the headship of the president. Okay, so these are all the way in which the president is being selected. Prime minister is being selected. If you see, even when it is forming an alliance, central level BJP is now in majority, so they have selected one particular person from the BJP party. But if you see now, if they have not won as a single party, means they will form an alliance. When they are forming alliance and which person gets the majority to become an prime minister, that person will be appointed by the president as the prime minister. Okay, so now we'll see what are the duties of the prime minister. If you see, he is having, so he has to work by coordinating all the department and his decision will be the final decision. If you see, the next thing is that you can see he will be exercising the general supervision of different ministries. So he is going to supervise what is happening, how it is happening, what are the ways it is being dealt, all those things he will be seeing. Okay, so this is the another thing that you can see. Then all ministers will be under the headship of the prime minister. So under the headship of prime minister only, all of them will be functioning. Then he has the power to dismiss any minister. So what is this dismiss any minister? Actually, if any person has been found that he has done a mistake or he's been corrupted, the Prime Minister has all right to dismiss him. Okay, and similarly you can find that we have the ministers, like ministry is there. So Prime Minister, if he feels that he wants to quit means to leave the job. If he is feeling so that he want to quit the job, and if it is happening, the whole entire ministry we should quit. Okay, so thus you can find that if the cabinet is the most powerful institution in India, so the cabinet comprises of the members. So like this, within the cabinet you will have Prime Minister, who is being considered as the most powerful person. Okay, and you will have Council of Ministers. So Council of Ministers are being named as official members. So official body, it is the name that is being given, and it includes ministers, all the ministers. Okay, usually they say that the 60 to 80 ministers of different ranks, different tasks are being included as the Council of Ministers. Okay, so this is Council of Minister. The next thing if you see is we have the cabinet ministers. So cabinet ministers are the ministers are given their top level leadership ruling for the ruler party, that is the party which has won. Okay, so they will be the in charge of majority ministry, like major important ministries will be given into the hands of the cabinet ministers. Okay, so this cabinet ministers, they will have meetings. So these ministers will have meetings to take discussions in the name of the Council of Ministers. So they will take decisions in the name of the Council of Ministers. So the cabinet has still more inner ring. Inner ring means very important members. Okay, so this inner ring will consist of only 20 ministers. Okay, so these 20 ministers will be the person who will sit for a discussion and will go on with the discussion of the common issues that are happening in the cabinet, in the nation. Okay, so usually they will be the top level leaders. Okay, so next thing if you see is we have the ministers. So Ministry of State with independent charges. So usually you can find ministers, or we have ministers at each status. They will be having their small ministries. They will not be given much of ministries, but these ministers are when they are supposed to participate in the meeting. When they can participate, they were supposed to participate only when they were being given special invitation. So you can find they are supposed to attend the meetings only when they are specially invited. Otherwise, they cannot attend the meeting. This is one important thing. The next thing is Minister of State. It is consisting of cabinet ministers. Okay, so the cabinet ministers work as a team. So they are going to work as a team, and no minister is supposed to criticize. Criticize means whether in the wrong manner or in the good manner. Like appreciations can be done, but they are not supposed to give wrong or false criticism on any of the decisions that are being taken by the government, even if it is about any ministry or any department. They are not supposed to do that. So that is the first and foremost important thing. Next thing is that the secretaries being provided with the necessary information. If you see, like they will have a minister secretariat with them. Every minister will have a secretariat, and they will have the civil servants as the secretariat. So those secretariats are supposed to provide with the necessary information which are needed for the ministers for taking decision should be supported by the secretariats. Okay, this is another important thing. So if you see, prime minister has the supreme power. Okay, So in that we'll have the cabinet ministers, we'll have the Ministry of States, and all these things, they work together. So we'll have a quick recap of this topic. If you see, we have the Prime Minister. Prime Minister is the supreme person, as I told you, he has the supreme power, and he is being the chair cabinet head, okay, and he will have or he will conduct all the meetings that are related to the cabinet, okay, and he is supposed to coordinate and work according to the departments, okay, he has to coordinate and work. And in the cabinet, if any decision is being disagreed and there arises a problem, there comes the major decision that has been taken by the Prime Minister is considered as the important decision of that. And you can find that the Prime Minister is appointed by the President. When he will be appointed, when he is being considered as the ruling person, and they have got majority vote and won in the election. At that time you can find they will represent a person and he will be appointed by the President, okay, and the Prime Minister exercise all the powers and he will even represent different ministers also, and he exercise general supervision of different ministers. So he has to take care of whatever activity that has been held, he will be supervising everything. So all the ministers are supposed to be under the headship of Prime Minister, and Prime Minister is the person who will distribute and redistribute the works of the ministers. So he'll give the works for the ministers as well as ministries will be also given to them based on their work that has been done by them previous years. And here Prime Minister has the power to dismiss the ministers. So if any minister has been found that he has done a mistake or he has done a corruption, then he will be dismissed, okay, by the Prime Minister with the authority of him, okay. Then it will go on with the long process. The long process you may study when you come to the higher classes. See, next thing is when Prime Minister quits, so entire ministry should quit. You know why? Because he is being selected from the ruling party, was won in the previous election. So if Prime Minister is quitting, that means the whole of the ministers is unfit and he is supposed to quit their own postings. And if the cabinet is most powerful, that is why we say that the cabinet is most powerful over in India. And in the cabinet you can find the Prime Minister has the most important power, okay. And another ministry which we have is Council of Ministers. So Council of Ministers will be with Prime Minister for consulting and discussing. So in this they are officially called as, the official name of this body is called as the Council of Ministers, which includes all the ministers. It usually has 60 to 80 ministers in this with different tasks and a different ranking they will be. So this is about the Prime Minister and the Cabinet and Council of Ministers. So next we have the Cabinet Ministers. You see, Cabinet Ministers usually will be having the levels and they will be having in charges of different ministries and they will sit for a discussion of the important events in the name of the Council of Ministers. The cabinet has inner ring. Okay, this inner ring will consist of the 20 members. So this 20 ministers will be the person who will take major decisions. Okay, so this is the cabinet. Then we have the Ministry of State with independent in charges. So here you can find that this Ministry of State doesn't have much of power, but it is an in charges of small ministries and they will participate in the main cabinet meetings only when they are specially invited. Otherwise they are not going to attend the meeting. Then if you see see about Ministry of State, that in the cabinet ministries, they work in the form of a team, and no ministers can openly criticize the decision that are being taken by the government. If it is about the other ministry or the other department, they are not supposed to talk. And here every minister has secretaries, so they will be of civil servants. Okay, so those civil servants are supposed to provide the necessary information to the ministers to take certain decisions. Okay, so this is what is about today's class, my dear students. Remaining we'll see in the next class. Okay, so go through the content and read the book. Okay, my dear students, thank you.